Well guys, I've got my tractor loaded up. I got the grapple on the front of the tractor. Got my 550 XP and my 572 XP. We're gonna go over to our neighbor's house and grab what's probably gonna turn out as several red oak logs, good sized logs. The only thing I've got left to grab is a tape measure. All right, so I got my tape measure. We're gonna hit the road. It's a little ways over there, but not too far to be traveling back and forth on the tractor. Honestly, what would have made more sense is probably take my dump truck and the tractor over there, load them in the bed of the dump truck. But I really think by the time I done all that, I could probably just make the trips back and forth, hauling the logs one at a time back to our other place up the road here. Well, right here is what we're going to be working with today. It's a pretty good sized log right out there. I imagine we're going to get several sections of log out of here. And from my understanding, we're probably just going to leave all this stuff. He might cut it up for firewood later. So if you don't know, our good buddy Aaron over at Sparks Forge, that's where we're at right now. We're over behind his house. And he's the one that's gonna let me take this log. All I gotta do is get it out of the way. It ain't costing me a dime. So I figure it'll definitely be some good lumber to put on the mill, or who knows, if I find something wrong with it, may end up as just firewood. I don't know. Trying to figure out which way I want to start. If I want to start on this end or out there. You have to be careful with some of these that are off the ground like this, because that log is obviously going to fall. But I think I'm going to start right here and go ahead and get the butt end to drop. down here, it's a pretty straight log. And I could probably get a 10-foot section here. Oh, well, yeah, definitely. I could go 12. But the thing of it is, y'all, I'm gonna be carrying these down the road. Plus, that's a big log, and it's gonna be heavy. And y'all seen me working them. Honestly, the longer they are, the heavier they are. So, I think I'm gonna stick with 8-foot sections. Let's try that again. So it'll be 8 foot's about right there. So we'll probably cut it about 8.6. Always, even if I'm cutting like an 8-foot log, I cut it, sometimes I cut them 9 foot, sometimes I cut them 8'6". You just always want some extra on the end to play with. And I guess that right there is just positioned just right, that it just ain't gonna fall just yet. Oh shoot, look at that right there. That right there might not make a good log. Man, let me show you. Sometimes with these old red oaks, you gotta watch out for this. Center's rotten. It's rotten, just like all of that right there. So there's no telling how far up in that tree that goes, which that's okay. Yeah, if it don't make a log, that's fine. We'll still put it to use as some firewood or something. But that's always a little disappointing when you run into that situation. So I'm still gonna cut this thing in 8-foot sections because that's what I can easily tote down the road. Once we get this section off of it, we'll see if that up there is solid. And if it is, then we'll start, the rest of those will be saw logs. I pinched my saw. So the heart even up here towards the top of the log is somewhat soft. We might could get some lumber out of that right there though. We'll see. And the end of this log looks the same way. I haven't been able to see that end yet. Still not a loss though. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 5 good sections here that even if I can't turn any of them into lumber, will make some extremely good firewood. So I'm not complaining at all. And he told me I didn't have to do nothing with it, but I may end up trying to cut out part of this section right here too. Not sure. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes to carry these back to the house. Like I said, somewhat disappointing, but it's still a win. I'm still happy. We're still good. I was hoping I'd find this.
It's time to get some stuff going here in the kitchen. We're gonna have a pretty simple supper tonight. I'm just gonna warm up some barbecue that you saw me make back when we were processing our pigs. We're gonna have some simple baked beans out the can and my easy homemade macaroni. So my main thing I want to show y'all though is how I make this super simple chocolate pie, and it requires no eggs. This time of year, especially where we cut way down on our chickens, eggs, you know, we don't have an overabundance. We have just enough. So this recipe right here works perfect. If you're allergic to eggs or you just don't have a lot of eggs right now, this recipe don't need no eggs, and this chocolate pie is killer. You want to start a little bit ahead of time because it is going to have to be refrigerated. So you want it to set at least a couple of hours before you eat it. It's best if it sits overnight, but my brain don't think that far ahead. So this is going to be our dessert tonight. But the first thing we're going to need is a half a cup of cocoa. You're also going to go ahead and want to pre-cook your pie crust. I've got my pie crust already in the oven. Now pie crusts get a little weird when you cook them and they don't have nothing in them. I know they make some weights or something that go in them, but it still tastes good even if it looks weird. 1 1/4 cups of white sugar. 1/3 cup of cornstarch. Now I hadn't cut any heat on yet. I want to get all this dry stuff mixed in here first, then we'll get that going. So let's get all our dry stuff mixed up. Now this makes quite a bit of this. If I have any left over, what I do, it's pretty much like chocolate pudding, and I put that in a separate bowl, and the kids, they love it. Love it, love it. So this can make like 2 regular, if it's like a regular pie, it can make 2, I'd say. It'd be close anyway. Or it can make a deep dish and then a little extra. Now let's add 3 cups of milk. I'll go ahead and cut my heat on so that can be heating up. And that'll combine a lot better once it gets a little warm. Now while your heat's on, you're going to want to stir this pretty regular. After about 5-ish, 10-ish minutes, probably closer to 5, you're going to notice this really start thickening up. And you want to be here for it, because if not, it's going to go to sticking. So don't get too far away from it. Feel it getting a little thicker. I mean, and it'll thicken up on you in a hurry. Yep. And there we go. Let it go just another second. See how quickly that thickened up once it started? You just want to stir that whole time so it don't try to stick to the bottom. Look at that. Ooh-wee. So before we put that in our pie crust, we're gonna add about a teaspoon of vanilla, 3 tablespoons of butter. Just get that mixed in. Give that butter time to melt. It's really gonna give it a nice shiny look, make it a little richer. Like I said, it's not going to take all of it. See how pretty and shiny that is? My pie crust was a little crooked, but it's okay. Now I'm going to take the rest of it and I'll pour it in this bowl here for the kids. The kids don't care much for the pie with the pie crust, but now they love this part. Alright, we're going to get these both in the fridge, let them cool completely. I like to enjoy my chocolate pie with a little bit of whipped cream. That's totally up to you. You can eat it just like this right here. That's the way Andy likes it. He likes it just plain old chocolate and crust. And then, whatever's left over, have you some pudding.
Well, that's not a bad looking pile of wood right there. And if it wasn't for that, it'd be a really good looking pile. I mean, I might could still put it on the mill because you've got all this good wood right around here. You're just gonna lose that heartwood. I may end up doing one of them and just seeing how it turns out. Like I said, it's not too big of a concern to me because, I mean, I can use the firewood too. And we finally got the rest of our rounds busted up here the other day. What we had left after the wood splitting video y'all watched. And this is what we ended up with. And I think I've decided that instead of trying to sell this now, I believe we're gonna fix us somewhere that we can store this wood, save it for next winter, and it'll be seasoned and we could potentially get more money out of it. And I'll keep that rotation going to where I'll spend all winter cutting wood, but it'll be for the following year. I hope that makes sense. But I think that's what we're going to try to do, and try to keep a continuous cycle of split wood available that's seasoned, instead of just selling, you know, something that's just been busted. And one reason I want to try to pursue a little bit more with the firewood is because it's something the whole family can join in on. It's something we can make a little extra money at, and to be honest, we all enjoy it. So anyways, we've got plenty of wood available to us, and if we ever start to run out, I think I know several people who I can get logs from that we can start busting up. So I don't feel like having wood would ever be a problem. I think we would always have like a continuous supply of wood available to us as long as we're willing to put the work in. But I got to run back over there. That's all the logs. I'm gonna get one of the biggest sections out of the top of that tree, and then I'm gonna quit because I'm finally going to get my hair cut. It's finally warm enough that I've decided I'm going to get my hair cut, and as I normally don't cut my hair until the springtime, until it starts warming up in the spring, which I know it's a little bit early right now, but right now my hair is about the longest that it's been, and it's getting on my nerves. So I'm finally getting my hair cut this evening. Thank goodness. There's still a ton of good firewood left up in there. All of that right there would be a good section. But that's all I'm gonna be able to get today, because I'm gonna run out of time. I'm gonna make sure I do not miss my haircut appointment.
So for my homemade macaroni, we're gonna start off with, well, we're gonna go ahead and get some water boiling for our elbow noodles. I usually do just about a half a box. That's enough for us. And this is one of the 16-ounce blocks of Velveeta, so it's not the huge one, it's the smaller one. We're going to do about half a block of that. And then we're going to do a nice hunk of butter, tablespoon or two. Let's do 2. And I've actually found, if you've seen me do this in previous videos, I usually add the milk here too, but I've found it seems to do better as far as me getting my ratios right if I wait and just add the milk to the noodles after I put this in there. So I'm just going to put this in the oven, 350 degrees, keep an eye on it, let the cheese start getting soft and the butter melt, and we'll add, by the time the noodles get done, that's usually done, and we'll mix it all together. Alright, next we're going to pop us open a can of some Bush's baked beans. One of the few kinds of beans I do buy. I make baked beans occasionally. It'll take a while, but we like some Bush's baked beans too. And these are the country style. That's what kind I buy. And the next thing I like to do to my baked beans is I like to cut up some hot dogs and put in them. Now, these are Jesse Jones hot dogs. It's a North Carolina thing, y'all. Like most of y'all probably ain't even heard of them, but they're the best. But I cut up 2 or 3 of them and put in there, and then just let them simmer until we're ready to eat. This is kind of one of those comfort meals, you know. This is something we both ate growing up with the hot dogs in it. It's kind of one of those things that takes you back to your childhood, makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Yeah, the baked beans with the hot dogs in them is one of those, for us anyway. And let those simmer. Alright, see how that's all nice and melted down, that Velveeta? That's what we're looking for. So we're going to dump this right into our noodles. Now, there's no recipe per se for this. If you want more cheese, put more cheese. If you don't want that much cheese, just don't put that much cheese. We're going to get that stirred in there. Then what I like to do, after I've stirred it all in there, I let it set for a little bit. So I let this set while my beans are getting done and cooking my barbecue. And it'll thicken up. And then we'll see at that point if we need to add some milk to it. So cooking this barbecue is about as boring as they come. If y'all remember, I did pork shoulder back when we first started processing hogs. I do that every year. I'll do 1 or 2, chop it up, and make our own chopped barbecue, vacuum seal it, and freeze it. So this is already cooked and everything. All I got to do is open it up, warm it up, and we're going to put a little sauce on it, and it will be ready. It's one of those kind of things, it's a whole lot of work. I mean, like a day, a whole day's worth of work to make this barbecue. But I made several packs, and see, it's just worth it. Because now, I'll have this warmed up in 10 minutes, and there we go. I'll be sure to link that video if y'all want to see how I did that. I'll just cut my heat on low, keep stirring it around some until it's warmed all the way through. Alright, so this is good and warmed up. I'm going to add a little barbecue sauce to it. When I don't make my own, I like to use a couple of different ones. I really like McMaster's hog sauce. That's actually a local guy that makes that. I'm not sure if it's sold nationwide or not, but you can buy it locally if you're around in the northwestern part of North Carolina and southwestern Virginia. And then also really like this. I just have discovered this. I was at Mama's house the other day and she had some of this. What were we eating? Might have been eating a Boston butt. I can't remember. But this was so good. So I bought some and it's got a really, really good flavor. So we enjoy it anyway. But I just pour a little of that on there. And we'll probably top it off with more after I put it on my plate. To kind of let that caramelize and that chopped barbecue a little bit there. So my macaroni's been sitting for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. See how much that has thickened up? So we're going to put a little milk in there to keep it as creamy as we want it. Now, if you like it thick like that, just leave it. It ain't going to hurt nothing. But I am going to touch it with just a little bit of milk. I'd say that was maybe a little less than a half a cup. And that'll bring that creaminess right back the way we like it. It'll be good and creamy when we go to eat. We got barbecue, baked beans, and homemade macaroni.
It looks good. I'm about to starve. You won't ever guess. I cleaned out enough stuff down there under the stable. I made enough room to back my sawmill under there. And still got everything under shelter.
Really?
Yeah. Can you believe that?
Well, there you go. Well, that's really good.
I know. I couldn't.
Now you don't need a shed.
I still need a shed, but I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy. There's that much room under there.
I know. So y'all, me and Megan have been on a major cleaning out spree, ain't we? It's amazing what kind of room you got when you start throwing away stuff.
Yeah. Which, I mean, granted, not only was it our stuff, it's stuff from years ago, too.
Down there, yeah. A lot of that stuff I've cleaned and cleaned and cleaned under that building, and I'm still cleaning out stuff that belonged to Grandpa.
Yep. So, just a little bit at a time. We just took a notion to do it, work on it for a week or so.
You already got barbecue sauce on that?
Yeah, but you might want to put you a little more. That's a fine looking plate. Look like we done went to the barbecue house.
That's exactly what it looks like.
And we've got chocolate pie for dessert.
All right. That sounds really good. Now I can't wait to get this in so I can eat some chocolate pie. You want to get it out there? Next question.
You're for it?
Can I do it before we take it all together?
I'm probably not because my crust is kind of crumbly where I cooked it without the stuff in it.
Yeah, it's still a little jiggly.
Like I said earlier in the video, they're best after they've sit overnight, but we're going to eat something.
We can't wait that long.
Yeah.
How big a piece you want?
Just
that,
no.
half of it?
Just a little piece.
Like that?
Yeah.
Y'all, what do you think? I ain't got no hair left. Megan said, "Oh my goodness, who are you?"
I said, I got my husband back. Oh yeah, look, that's fine. That is just fine. Look at that.
That's set up just fine.
Oh boy.
I know one thing, these things are good. I ain't eating no whipped cream on mine.
So, there's your little, manage to get them up close. There is the Eggless Chocolate Pie up close. Anyways, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Hope you might have learned a little something. We're going to go enjoy our pie. And anyways, till we see y'all in the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.
Have a great one.